Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course. I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Yep, something like that. We're just going. This is the Cult of Center Knowledge podcast. Jordan over there, in his high definition world, if anyone's watching the fucking video. I am over here in Lagsville and living in a decade in the past, so I apologize for that, if anyone cares. But our audio should be unaffected. We should have our same sultry butter voices. I was actually worried because this morning, this time of the year, I always lose my voice a little bit. Like if you haven't noticed, I have a pretty raspy voice a lot of the time. But I literally could not talk for like 2 hours straight this morning at work. And I was like, fuck, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the podcast tonight. I was like, but I'm there. It does. It happens all the time when there's like a weather change. Like a drastic weather change. Because it was snowing the other day and now it's like super warm again. It's like just that early spring in Utah type shit. So, welcome to another episode of Weather Corner.
I know, this is it. Yeah. This is Old Man Corner where you talk about the teas that you drink now. Is it spiked at least? Or no?
My tea,
that way?
No, I mean, it maybe normally would, but I'm actually just drinking juice today.
Oh, just juice, yeah.
I know. I was going to make a drink or something, but I forgot. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to buy at the store. Did you write a synopsis?
No,
it was my week.
It's your turn. Oh, okay. I was like, whatever, man.
I remembered. I wrote one at work. So we're talking cerebral movies still. This week we're talking about Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Which, God, what year did that come out now? Because I remember looking.
2014, baby.
God, that blows my mind.
It really. This makes me feel like. It feels like this literally came out last year.
Dude, it really feels like just came out right before COVID. Like, I would have guessed like 2017 is what I would have guessed.
2017, yeah. 2016 I would have been like, sure. But 2014 feels like just, I mean, I guess that's not that long ago, but it's rocking my world. Like 2014 doesn't feel like it's in this decade.
It's almost 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah, almost. But anyhow, I'm going to lay down a little factoid that I found out. This doesn't feel like it should have been the first movie that won an Academy Award that was shot all digital. It's
no
like,
way.
This is the first like digital movie. That feels older.
That feels, because I mean, like, digital's been. This is really the first movie to win Best Picture. That's digital.
It's not like you kind of, that sounds like really epic, like the first digital movie. It's more just, this is the first fully shot all digital. Everything was shot digital, no film, because every film prior was a split. It was a mixture. So it's like, This is the first straight up digital.
Weird.
And I feel like it was kind of the best way to do this style of movie, because it felt even more seamless and like, it definitely.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they'd have to, just the way this was shot feels like it'd be really hard to shoot on film and really hard to edit. But I mean, these days it's like, who knows, who cares? Like, they can find, there's always ways around it with technology.
Yeah. And like, I mean, friggin' Hitchcock did this with Rope back in like late 60s, early 70s. I can't remember what year exactly that came out.
Yeah, it was late 60s or something.
Sure, yeah.
All right, you ready? I don't think I actually finished this synopsis. I think I started it at work and never finished it. So
you're forgiven.
I'm going to read it anyway, because I'm sure in the history of the show there's been worse. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Let us know.
Yeah, I know. If this is the worst synopsis that we've done thus far, Yeah, tell me.
Leave a comment.
So, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, follows Regan Thompson, washed-up actor most known for playing the titular superhero character of Days Past, as he struggles to adapt and put on a Broadway play. All the while, a malicious, egotistical voice both torments and comforts him, also seemingly giving him powers that only he can see. Life in the theater is chaotic. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Regan's daughter, Emma Stone, I don't remember her character's name, works as his assistant and falls in lust with a new actor brought on to cover last minute, Edward Norton. He is way over budget. His lawyer / best friend is about to have a meltdown, and he might have knocked up one of his cast members, so the pressure is on. As opening night looms closer, Regan and the rest of the cast struggle to get the production on track. The anxiety pushes Regan to the brink of his mental state, as his mental state grows worse and worse, dipping his toes into full-blown delusions. On the opening night, he uses a real gun in the final act, possibly meaning to end his life, but blowing off his nose instead. Still alive, Regan recovers in the hospital, his play already becoming the stuff of legend in the end. Is he bound to continue the cycle of self-destruction, or now that he has what he wanted, to feel seen, to feel important, can he put the past behind him and rise to the level of prestige he has always dreamed? Seemed like I skipped right over the whole middle, but whatever.
But like the whole middle is just it's the second act.
It's the
is them
escalating of
doing
it.
it's each. Well, yeah, it's like because it takes place over 3 days of the pre-show or whatever, the rehearsal show. What's it called?
Preview.
Whatever. Oh, preview. Is it preview?
I think it's preview. Yeah.
When people come, because they said it a couple times in there, like it's just a preview. It doesn't matter. Whatever. It's that. So it just takes place with those 3 days, and then builds
what?
up.
You've obviously seen this before.
Right. Yeah, I saw this in.
You saw
this in
theaters,
theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was this was what, your second, third time watching it?
Just my second time.
Yeah.
And I was just as impressed as my first time.
Yeah.
I think it really is. It's more impactful the first time because you're just, it's everything. It's new. It's coming at you, and there's a lot to absorb. But it's like this is clearly a second rewatch. I want to watch it a third time now that it's fresh.
Yeah.
I want to watch it in a week, or even just tomorrow. Like really to get the detail. There's so much coming at you. There's so much like they reference like Macbeth, and it's just I don't know, because it's so beautiful. It mixes theater and film so seamlessly, and it pays respect to both so like vibrantly.
Well, it's super cinematic, and it uses a very good use of the camera and the cinematography and the editing, or lack thereof. Even obviously there's tons of stitched editing, hidden editing, but to make it feel organic and flow, even though time is passing, it still feels raw in the theater, in the corridors, on the stage, but without feeling like, I feel like a lot of movies that are quote unquote like theater movies are very much shot like a theater. Like it's like, here it is from the audience perspective or whatever. Here's them on the stage doing their thing, theatrical, wide shot, maybe a close-up, blah, blah, blah. There it is. Not this movie. This movie is, the camera's constantly moving. It's fucking rotating. It's in the scene. It's in people's faces. It's under the covers.
Dude, oh my God.
It feels super intimate with what's going on. It's amazing.
It goes anywhere. And what I love, when I say it blends theater and film, you get actual like full-fledged wides, establishings, and then they come in and it doesn't feel like the camera's like
I want
like floating. It feels like it's the blocking is so strong with characters, like it feels like it's a new shot. I feel like even though I've turned, now I've hit, everyone hits their mark and they've blocked it, and it looks perfect. It looks like a new shot.
Perfect.
It feels
100%. It does 100%. I almost forget that this movie's one shot sometimes, except for during the transitions and stuff. But it's I wish I can get my fucking wife to watch it. She refuses to watch it, and originally refuses. She refuses.
Mary, please, can you hear me out there, Mary? It's so good. Victoria enjoyed it. She was, and she didn't. It's funny, she didn't notice that it was all one shot. I was like, do you notice this is like one shot as we were watching it? And she was like, oh wow, yeah. She's like, I didn't. She's like, yeah, until you said it. No, I didn't notice. I'm like, yeah, it's cool, right?
Yeah, there's literally like a couple visible edits at the beginning and then a couple visible edits at the end. There's like no visible edits for like hour 45.
Yeah.
Straight.
No, and yeah, it's like, yeah, because you get one shot of like the jellyfish at the beginning, and then it goes right into you know, he's just levitating, and I love that it just jumps right into the delusions immediately. The opening shot.
I know, you almost don't realize that he's floating midair at first because it just looks kind of strange, and then it kind of clicks that like, no, he's just floating. He's not sitting on anything. He's just floating there.
Yeah.
Which is just immediately odd.
Well, and it's immediately like, it's technically like amazing too, because it's like, they shot it like green screen block, and then they went through, and this, you know, they took a lot of editing and they did a lot of trickery with it and stuff, but it's like, it doesn't take away from anything. But it's so cool because when it pans into his back and then he walks, it's like you kind of forget like, oh, he was floating there, and it's like,
yeah, because it's like you don't see him put his feet down, but you can kind of like feel him do it in the rest of his body, just like gently and suddenly be standing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it's just that momentum. He gets called onto stage, and it's just like from the rest of the movie.
I think that's like the best word to describe this entire movie, both in the feel, the pacing, the cinematography, is momentum. Like, it literally just like has such a flow.
The drum, baby.
Oh my god!
It's just like
literally, it's got a rhythm. Like the whole movie's got rhythm, and the whole score. I mean, sometimes it's like big classical swells, but those are like in his mind, which is great. It's like him trying to be epic. But the drums are so good. It's just like one dude on the drums is like the whole score. It's so good.
I want it. Yeah, Antonio Sanchez, that drummer dude, is so sick. I've been listening to him now, like after, because it's just like
really. That sounds good.
God, it's so good. It's so. I mean, it's jazzy. The whole thing
feels like. Dude, it's great. Like I love me some just sweet jazz drums. I feel like.
Do you know what's wild? Speaking of, real quick, just because it's, I remembered. The Whiplash was same year.
Oh, really?
Definitely, like, yeah, it's
that was a year for percussionists there, dude, for sure.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, I was like,
I feel like this movie, for some reason, like people in their minds are like, oh, like that gimmick's already. Like, I feel like by the time this came out, it like a lot of things kind of copied it in a way. And so people felt like it wasn't like original, like with the drum score. Like I feel like we got a couple drum scores after that, and then the whole obviously it's all one shot like trick that like 1917s. Everyone's like, oh my god, it's all one shot. Can you believe it? I'm like, have you even watched fucking Birdman? But obviously one's in a theater and one's a World War I movie, so I get it. But
yeah.
And one's Deacons too. You know?
Yeah, and one's bigger. It's like. This movie, Birdman's got like, it's got the money shot at the end where he's like, and I love that too. I love like when you like, you're self-righteous and you kind of like degrade the audience, but it's like, it's in a meta way where it's like, yeah, you just want the big explosions. You want like, people don't fucking care about your feelings. They just want to see. They want to see the cool shit.
Give them, like, I see where their eyes sparkle when the violence, with the violence. Give them the blood.
It does, dude. It gives me chills just thinking about it. It's like, it's like, film is so cool, and you kind of like forget the people that are like, that are behind it. They're like the, actual human beings. And this movie definitely is like, it's self-inflated, of course. And it's clearly like, it's like, it romanticizes Hollywood so hardcore, but it's definitely the part that I like. I'm like, I get it.
It shits on,
I love film, so.
It shits on Hollywood. But it's in the same time being like, I don't know, like the thespian life, the role of acting, and the influence on the arts are like above all like the most important. That's where it's like sniffing its own farts for sure. Or at least a lot of the characters, at least anyway.
But that's the meta part of it.
Yeah,
so
it is.
As it makes fun of Hollywood, it's a Hollywood movie that's being shot. It's a technical marvel that is acted amazingly.
Yeah.
Dude, it's one of the tightest movies ever made, and it's making fun of Hollywood. So it's definitely like but it's more ribbing Hollywood. It's definitely not like it's not trying to make a movie that's
it's
like,
not like a
going
critique of like
audacity,
very
you know.
Let me say.
Here,
you got anything else on that?
Well, I had a bunch of like little. I was reading this. I read this. What is that called? Variety. That like whatever that online article page. What the hell are they called? Magazine, whatever, something like that.
Variety.
Anyways, tabloid.
Yeah.
Variety. Yeah. But there was an interview. And we got to butcher his name last time because it's like Inarritu.
Oh God, I forgot. We literally just watched one of his movies not long ago. I literally forgot.
We did.
Revenant.
Well, and it's dude, we just watched Revenant like a
couple
4
months
movies ago or something.
Yeah.
But so it's like he Alejandro, he like, oh man,
it's like Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu.
Inarritu, but
we're gonna
Alejandro.
Go listen to the Revenant podcast where maybe we pronounce it right once.
Yeah, maybe. And we haven't learned anything yet because that's who we are. We're dumb. But anyways, the interview, he had dinner with Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton was like, "Are you making fun of me? Are you this because of Batman? It's like that is so beautiful. That's like the behind the scenes that you really need that context. It's like I could see somebody that has never heard of Michael Keaton as Batman. He's never, they know some tale, but they've never seen a movie. They don't know anything about him. And so coming into this, it almost kind of like it's an inside joke. Like
it is with him as Batman. He's talking about putting on the suit in the early '90s, and the whole right at the beginning.
1992 when Batman Returns comes out, the one that like flopped. It did good, honestly, but
Batman Returns is sweet.
I know, yeah.
I know he's literally the Birdman voice. Is like we were doing this shit. 20 years before that clown Robert Downey Jr. put on his fucking tin suit and is making billions domestic at the box office. And he's like, and where was that for us? Like we were doing it first. We were the OG. And
he really was, dude. Like,
and they go on that. Yeah, it really was, because it's like back then, superhero movies were a risk. You know what I mean? It's like they were definitely like a little bit more of a niche thing, where now superhero movies are like the norm. Like that's the main. Like everyone's like, oh my God, I'm such a nerd. I fucking love Marvel movies. I'm like, yeah, they're the biggest grossing movies in the world. Like,
right? They're not they're definitely not. And
my mom watches Marvel movies.
Right, and I love. Well, it's come full circle where like now it's cool to hate Marvel, which I kind of do, but it's not. It's out of like there's so much volume that
I could go on a Marvel. I go on a Marvel / Disney rant at work. Every time somebody finds out I like movies, I gotta put on.
I know. I'm so sad. No one at my work has ever heard of this movie. Can you,
dude? No, I feel like it was.
I thought it was huge. It was giant. It was a huge movie when it came out, but I guess it's like no.
I know it was easily forgotten, and it was a lot of people. It was kind of jarring. Like I feel like it wasn't like as beloved. Like it was critically acclaimed, but I feel like audiences like just kind of didn't jive with it as much. But let me bring it back to when I first saw this movie. Because I first saw that. This is my third watch, I think. And I first saw this movie. I just saw it on a whim. There was no hype, no nothing, and I was like, "That looks fun." And so I went to Century 16, and I ate an edible, and I went and sat in the front row, and it was me and one other person opening. It was like opening day. There's no one there.
Oh shit!
It was like me and one other person. Like it was like the middle. It was like early afternoon on a Friday.
Matinee style.
Yeah, but it was still like 4:00 on like a Friday at Century 16, and I watched it not expecting anything. Barely have seen only the teaser trailer. I mean, like that looks interesting, and it blew my fucking socks off. And I was like, okay, that was awesome. So a couple 6 months or whatever to a year later, I bought it when it came out on Blu-ray and watched it again. And I'm like, okay, this movie has staying power. It wasn't me just being super baked. And I was surprised because I saw that movie. I'm like, oh, this movie's awesome. No one, like, everyone should watch this. And then it started getting all the Oscar buzz. And then it won the fucking Oscar. And I was like totally surprised because I was like, oh man, this movie like came out of nowhere. Like I had no, like a lot of times it's the opposite. You hear Oscar buzz. I feel like most people who saw this movie saw that it was like, oh, this movie's getting critical acclaim. Oh, it's nominated for an Oscar. Like, I better go check it out. And so I was just like super surprised. And then it won fucking Best Picture, which still surprises me because this movie's like, I don't know. It's kind of an anomaly in its way. But this third time watching it, I was just like, I feel like that's the mark of a truly great film for me. It's like the first time I watch it, I'm like, wow, that was really fucking good. Like, I really was thoroughly engrossed in that, and I need to see if it has the staying power. So every time I rewatch it, if I feel like it's as solid, and I pick up on more stuff, and it doesn't lose anything, then I'm like, this is the mark of like a truly great film, in my opinion. And so this time around, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, this movie deserves all my hype. I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, it's a recommend for sure. I sing its praises, and it's cool because it's a movie where like you can spoil it, I guess, kind of, but you really just say like, you know, it's a movie where like Michael Keaton's kind of just playing a washed up actor trying to revitalize his life. And
yeah,
like,
but it's got such an energy. It's got such a fucking vibe to it. Like I feel like anyone could watch it.
Yeah,
and
that's
be
why,
into
like,
it
wife,
with no expectations. I don't know.
Mary would get enjoyment out of this. That's what's wild. It's like there is anybody in the world will like enjoy its merit. Like,
dude, she will not watch it out of spite, straight up, because it's like I've been wanting to rewatch it for a while now. The last couple, because last time I watched it, I said you should watch this movie with us, and she said no, I don't want to because it's got too much of a moving camera, which honestly is not that noticeable.
No, not even at all.
It's not like most movies where it's like, oh god, that camera's whipping around, you know, like handheld. It's like it's not handheld at all.
And there's that one. So there is a movie that was shot. Remember, it was shot it was continuous as a horror movie.
Yeah. And
it was like, and that I only
it's
saw
like Open House or something like that. I forgot what it's called. I remember that. It was okay.
But
there's a movie that came out. There's a movie that came out this year called Boiling Point that is takes place all in like a kitchen, and it's all one shot, and it's actually all one shot. Like they actually filmed it all in one shot. And apparently not, but 2021 actually, not this year, but apparently it's really good. It's on my list to watch. But she refuses to watch it now because I tried to get her to watch it the second time, and she wouldn't. And then after I watched it, I was like, no, you really got to watch it with me. And she's like, I'm not watching it with you ever now because you keep asking.
Oh my god!
And so this time she's like, I will never watch that movie because I've said you do it just because I want you to do it. She's like, I'm my own person. I'm like, whatever.
You should trick her. You should trick her and just edit out the title, and then just have her watch the first 20 minutes or so. Or I guess maybe it's like the first 8 minutes. I think is like when it gets to like the Birdman interview when he's having that press release.
Yeah.
And so it's like then she would know, but just get her hooked, dude. That's like. You're hooked the first second. Just
I know. I should just sneak it in. Just like start it in the middle and be like, yeah, we're watching this new movie.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, I heard about this. It just came out. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. This is nominated for. This is a Best Picture contender.
yeah. There you go. Trigger like that. Be like, this is for the Academy.
We've watched
but dude,
them
it's
all
wild.
now.
I get it. So it won like Best Cinematography and and Best Picture, and I think
Best Director,
too, right? It won 4, so. But anyways, it lost editing, which I guess I understand, but I'm kind of like, it lost editing to Whiplash, and Whiplash isn't edited all that special. It's like, but I guess it's kind of just like it didn't want to give it to editing because the editing was so baked in.
Yeah,
it was shot. Maybe
I get that because it's like
it almost took as long to edit as it did to shoot. They shot.
Oh, that 100%.
They shot it in under a month, and then they edited it.
They shot it in under a month. That's pretty fucking impressive, dude.
Rehearsal and shooting all under a month.
Wow.
And if you actually think about it, that kind of makes sense. There's very little
Our movie
there's very little tear
took
down.
a month to
it's
shoot.
It's like once you build your set and you're like, okay, we're gonna spend 2 or 3 days in this set shooting all that scene.
Yeah.
So you kind of there's a lot.
I
of
imagine there
that,
is probably almost literal years of pre-production anyway.
Well,
Because it is so calculated with like how the shots are gonna have to go together and how it has to be like blended continuously. Like there had to be so much like storyboarding and all that shit.
No. So that's what's funny. Pre-production, I think because he talked about when he was doing Babel and then he did like Be Beautiful or whatever afterwards. He was talking about how like he wanted to make a happy movie, a funny comedy, because he was like tired of doing, or he was getting like burnt out on doing like complete serious like real life ramification movies.
Yeah.
Like, and so he wanted to make something fun, and this movie came to him in a dream, and he started writing it based off of like a short story, and so it like how he wanted to shoot it was actually it was blocked. There was a lot of rehearsal. It basically was like 2 weeks of rehearsal, 2 weeks of shooting, and then 2 weeks of editing. So this was made in under 2 months. It's wild to see that. It's just so tight, It's like,
it's so well
really
put together.
cool.
There's no slop in any aspect of it. Like I feel like the fucking acting is. It's a shame that all the actors got nominated pretty much. Like Michael Keaton, Emma Stone, and Edward Norton all got nominated for acting in this movie.
And Naomi Watts, I loved her.
I know. I wish she would have because I fucking love Naomi Watts. And I've fallen back in love with her because of Mulholland Drive.
Because of Mulholland Drive, yeah. Now that I saw this, I was like, and then Naomi Watts, Edward Norton, they were in The Painted Veil.
Oh,
which is a movie that I am like love, and nobody in the world's ever heard of it.
Yeah.
So it's like
you're the reason I went and saw The Painted Veil because you went and saw it and said it was really good. So I went and watched it while it was still in theaters.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I forgot there's Naomi Watts in that though. I definitely remember Edward Norton, but I forgot she was in that.
No, and because she's a chameleon, I think she's like a dark brunette.
She can be a chameleon because I forgot she was in fucking this movie.
Yo, me too.
I was like, holy shit, that's Naomi Watts. That's hilarious. Because I've been wanting, I was like specifically wanted to watch Funny Games after watching Mulholland Drive, and then we ended up because I wanted to watch her and Tim Roth, obviously. And then I started watching this. I was like, holy shit, and she's so good in this, dude. There's so many good scenes of just good acting in this,
dude. Good when Michael Keaton is pretending to be a good actor, like, or he's like. He's trying to convince Edward Norton that he's like, I'm a good actor, and he's talking about he's like, our dad, let me take us into this shed.
So good.
Dude, it's like, it's so hammy and cheesy, but like, it's actually like that underlining current. You're like, holy fuck, he's acting the shit out of this scene by pretending to overact. It's so meta, and the entire time I'm like,
and their chemistry, dude, all the chemistry of all the characters, like. Edward Norton and his chemistry in that scene, especially, he's like, and that was acting right there. And he's like, oh, you're a little fucked up in the head, aren't you? And then they actually like start fist fighting. He's like, I'm going to crab up on you, bitch.
Dude. And Edward Norton, and like all of them got to like play caricatures, and they did it so well. But it's kind of cool because they got to play who they were. It like during production, Edward Norton would like look over people's shoulders and then like be like, no, I got the lines, and he would read lines with them, and Alejandro would be like, you're doing what your character does, right?
That's so funny. That's the best too. It's so like a weird workaround too, where they're just like, let's just move through it, because it's like he shows up and he already knows the lines. He's like, wow, you already know, and he's like, yeah, let's just move past it. Like,
yeah, right. Like how and I love how he pretends like he's like, I know it's like a sixth sense to me or whatever. He's like, I can just do it. I'm natural. And he's like, I've been watching you. My wife is like, because his like wife's there, doing it. He's like, it's like, I know the lines. Like, he's like, I've been working on it.
His girlfriend, they would never commit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because they say something like they're sharing a vagina or something. So
yeah, they live together.
Keep banging. Oh, is that? Oh, duh, right.
They're definitely dating, but
Yeah, right. They're together. I was thinking there was a third layer, but anyways,
Mike Shiner. I
yeah,
feel like
I love it. I love it.
everyone, because Edward Norton's amazing. Emma Stone's monologue that she does to her dad is so fucking good. Obviously, every Michael Keaton is like the role of his life.
You mean Kylie, right?
Dude, literally in this movie, she looks so much like my sister.
Dude, she looks
She's just taller.
It's like even then. Yeah,
if she was a
I don't
foot
know.
shorter, she'd be my sister. Like,
no, it is. Yeah, dude, it's so trippy. There are times where she's like kind of talking, and I'm like, is this? It's like her eyes kind of squint. I'm like, is this Kylie? What the fuck is going on?
dude, I know, it's hilarious.
What's up, Kylie?
What up? I hope you're listening to this. I love you. But I feel like all these actors, they get the praise, but you know who does not get the praise in this that fucking should? It's his best performance ever too, and I think Zach Galifianakis, dude.
Yes.
He's so funny in this, and his anxiety is just so good.
He I guess it's like he's always been a good like dramatic actor, but he never does. I don't know. He's never done anything like. He's not done like a full Philip Seymour Hoffman where
he hasn't. He's
not,
he's still the hangover guy for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he's still even with like Baskets and stuff where you're like he kind of can't get out of that meta comedy. Like he can't get out of, and he fits in that wheelhouse perfectly. He does it so seamlessly that I like you kind of forget. It's almost like, oh wow, he seems pretty dramatic in this, but he's being like sarcastic throughout it. Like he's kind of very big and flamboyant.
Oh yeah, well, and he's such the comedy through so much of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And but do you know it's cool? A little behind the scenes because I got a few tidbits. I think this is kind of around my like
fact
around
moment.
my last. I have like two more. But anyways, Zach Galifianakis. So they were making like bets, on set. They were seeing who would mess up their take the most because they would do at minimum 15 takes of every single shot, and then at most like in the 60s. And so it's like they were seeing who would mess up the most in each take. And Emma Stone messed up the most, and Zach Galifianakis messed up the least.
Wow.
And he had some like when he does that phone call and he's talking to the guys there to sue him, and he's like doing that like he has his big monologue. Everyone gets their own kind of like really big monologue, and he gets his on that phone. Dude, that's great. That's like really. I mean, he's an awesome actor. Like I don't know. I think he's cool. It'd be cool to see him do a real dramatic piece, but
even that, I just want to see him be like the main character too, like because he's such a good supporting character. But that's like all he ever does.
I know. Yeah, it really is, huh? You're right. I guess Baskets is the only thing he's a main character in.
Yeah.
But, which is a good show. I think anyone out there.
What about Michael Fassbender? He's doing the prequel to the X-Men prequel. Like
the X-Men prequel. Yeah. But I love how I love how they talk about. It's cool how the characters, like the actors, are fictitious in the movie, but they talk. It's like they make it real.
I know. He's like, don't tell anyone, but Scorsese is shopping, and he comes out, and they're like, is Scorsese really looking around?
Yeah. Well, I know it's funny. Scorsese was there in the shoot.
Shut up.
There when Michael Keaton comes in off the streets of New York. Martin Scorsese is sitting on the aisle seat.
Shut up! Really? I'm gonna have to go now. I'm gonna have to watch it again. I'm gonna definitely check my wife.
Everybody out there, go back, run through the tape, and you can see Martin Scorsese in the audience. Yeah.
It's so good too because it's like this. It really just keeps ratcheting up the insanity because it's just like. Things keep going wrong, and then it's just like his, Mike Shiner, he's got like a weird rivalry with him, and he's like in the paper, and then it's like he locks him, he fucking closes it. Of course, he goes out for a smoke because he's all worked up, and he closes his trench coat and the door, and he's like in the middle of the scene, he's got to run around the whole building in his fucking tighty whities.
Michael Keaton's body is so weird.
Dude, it's perfect. It's perfect for that. He's just like this.
That's the scene. That's the scene that got him to sign on. In that interview, he said, "Oh, I get to run through Times Square in my underwear, my tidy whities."
Dude, and I'll do it. That's insane. Like I don't know, it's like few movies. Like obviously, I've never I lived in LA for a while, but like New York Times Square at night, like just that packed, like it captures like a certain chaotic like. The whole movie, I feel like he's on the edge of a panic attack, and watching that, I'm just like, oh my god! Like, how could you not be entertained? It's just so entertaining.
Yeah, it kind of gives me like a Being John Malkovich a little bit.
A little bit.
I love that. Like when he's out on the streets and they're running by him. They're like, "You suck."
Oh, yeah,
Like,
I gotta watch that again.
It's like,
You're the guy from that Diamond Heist movie, right? John Malkovich. I gotta watch that again.
God, that's such a good movie.
But God, no, he comes in and he just fucking rolls with it with the finger guns.
Yeah, the finger gun, and like when he's running out in Times Square, it's cool because like clearly you can kind of tell who's planted. You know, there's like people are saying like you're Birdman, you know, following them. People who actually have like lines where they're running with them. But then it's like cool because you see like that's the foreground, and then just barely out of focus, you can see there's just real human beings that are like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
It's just like out there on the swivel, like they're like, what is this? Who is that? Like, and it's just, I love how it's like when he's on the roof and they're like, are you filming a movie? Like, you know, they're like, oh man, you people are all the same.
You fucking people.
Like, yeah, I love it. It's like it blends that like reality so well. Like you kind of forget that you're in a movie.
What do you think about, like, obviously it's pretty obvious that his like superpowers are like, you know, his ego and like his anxiety and like that's like what makes this quote unquote like more of a cerebral movie is because it's like you do question, it's got like the common theme that we would talk about all month about like a unreliable narrator. It's like you see him, you hear his voices, and he thinks he's doing these crazy things, but then it shows, like, you know, like he trashes his room with his superpowers. But then Zach Galifianakis comes in, he's just smashing shit, and he's like, why don't you lay down for a bit, you know?
Yeah.
And then, but like, you know, he's flying around the city, and then he just he tells the guy as he walks in, he's like, stop the music, and the music stops, and then the taxi guy chases him in. He's like, hey, he didn't pay me, like. But you never see him get out of the taxi, you know?
Right. You feel like he just is seamless, or he's like, he can just materialize. He's flying. So my theory on that is that narratively, it's like it's the differentiation between like his fantasy and then reality. When people see him in reality, it's not epic. He's just doing it himself. He's physically just having, like, the whole thing is like, it opens up.
No, it is literally his ego. Like, he thinks he's just so much greater. He's got he's special. Got this special ability that no one else,
Dude, when the light, that is the first line that, like, fucking hooks me, is when they come out, the lamp hits him on the head, and it's just like that shock. I like jumped again, even though I knew it was happening.
That's
and then
so
he comes
good.
out, and he just whispers, and he's like, I did that. I did that with my mind. And it's like,
he's like, I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
Are you drunk? Like, I just love that right there. Is like he's having a breakdown. Like in real life, people can't see it because he's so guarded, and like so he just lives in that fantasy, and like. So I feel like narratively he is just having a nervous breakdown, and it's totally like the pressure and stuff. But then the ending is the only time where it really, like, except for like the scene when he flies away because there's a bunch of people to watch him. But you could argue that New York and people kind of just keep to themselves and shit. So it's like he isn't really being watched, you know, and that's just fantasy. And he just climbed down the building.
But they differentiate a lot of the time though, you know. So it's hard to say.
Right, it's really hard to say, but at the end, when his daughter comes in and looks down and then looks up and smiles, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's, you know,
whether or not it's like literal, now. But the fact that,
he's literally,
because it wasn't until, I mean, like, I thought that the first watch, and then the second rewatch, I'm like, does he have powers, maybe? Like, personally, because the first time I watched it, I'm like, oh, okay, obviously this is all, like, the narrative of, like, this is the visualization of, like, his, you know, his ego and his mental illness, which causes him to shoot himself in the face, which is the unexpected virtue of ignorance, that he becomes a fucking legend. And that's, like, it's not like he planned that. It's because he's fucking breaking down at the pressure of it all, and, you know, he couldn't recreate it if he tried. Not that he's not talented, but it's like,
well, no, but it wasn't. That's where I'm like, he really was going out there to kill himself, and he fucked up because, and throughout the whole movie, they talk about botched suicide.
Yeah,
and so it's
like in the scene right before
he
that,
even botched his own suicide when he went out to kill himself in the sea. It's like, you know, that's the whole theme. That's the virtue of ignorance. Like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And but it's like the second time I watched it, I was really more attention to like what's up with these jellyfish? And what is up with that, like, what is that streak, like a comet streaking across the sky? Like, I feel like it leaves just enough breadcrumbs to make you question it. Because most of the times, it's the other way around, where you're like, the movie presents you like, this person has powers or whatever, or this is what's happening, and then you're like, or was it all in their head? This movie's like, it was all in their head, or was it real? Like, just enough breadcrumbs, because it's like, he's got the jellyfish story, and then it opens with the jellyfish dead on the beach at the beginning. You keep seeing the asteroid stream across, like, or whatever that is, and it's like, is that his, like, superhero origin story? Like, I don't even fucking know, dude.
Well, because it's supposed to be, I thought it was, because it's Birdman 4, Rise of the Phoenix.
Right.
And so he wants to, it's on the horizon, so it's always hurtling towards Earth, that he could potentially do this, another Birdman. I feel like that's like another, because it's multifaceted. Like, that's another part of another escape plan, is like, he could just fall back on doing another Birdman because he's bankrupt now. But then the fact that the play did well, that's why I feel like he finally has transcended. He doesn't exist in this. He's not in the room when his daughter comes back.
Right. And a line that sticks out to me that Edward Norton's character says that stuck out to me this time, that really clicked with, like, the themes of the movie, was he's like, you're just mad because I'm popular. And he's like, fuck you. Popularity is just prestigious slutty cousin.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a perfect, like, kind of example, because he's living in, like, he's this popular star, but now that he's achieved this goal, he's taken his, like, to the next level of, like, oh, this is more than just a comeback to, putting on the suit. This is him doing something important, doing art and taking risks as an artist. Fuck, he, like, mutilated his own body and got charged with a crime. Now he's in the prestige level. Now he is soaring high above everyone. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, is that what it is with Emma Stone? Like, is she, like, seeing him on this high level, or is it actually like, maybe he's flying high? I don't know. Or maybe he's fucking just wants to kill himself, dude. Like,
and that's why. No, exactly.
It's hard to say.
I'm just kind of.
There's no objective. There's no objective truth. Like, the end really is really great. Like, I really like the ending because it really does kind of. It's perfect, but it leaves a lot of questions.
The ambiguity, or whatever that word is like, it's
ambiguity.
Totally ambiguity.
Ambiguity. Ambiguity.
Ambiguity. But it's ambiguous without leaving more questions. Like, it's your choice to choose, but the whole rest of it is, like, pretty tight. So you just kind of get to be like, all right, it's like,
So I'm saying there's just enough breadcrumbs.
Or he did kill himself. And I love when he gets the new nose and he looks like Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
And it's like one of his idols, and somebody who's like played on that stage, and it's like,
and he looks kind of like Birdman, more like he's got like a beak practically.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's like, if he doesn't like that nose, we'll get him a new nose.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's great. Dude, you know what's wild? This movie, The Birdman, was passed up by Toronto International Film Festival.
Really?
And it replaced, it passed this up for Black Mass. That Johnny Depp movie.
Did you see Black Mass?
No one has ever seen. No, have you?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, well, sorry about that.
Is it
good? I don't know.
It's boring. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not bad, which almost makes it worse. It's just so right down the middle.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, Johnny Depp's okay. I guess he's like, it's like he's not phoning it in, but he's not trying really. And they like, okay, he's got makeup on and it's like wants to be a mobster. I don't know. It's not very good.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to Birdman. I'd give it 2.5 stars.
Yeah, right. Like Birdman, I gave 4.5. And like, I could give it 5. Really, I don't know. I
really like this movie. I can understand why some people don't, but so that's why I wish more people had commented. And it's never too late. Go if you disagree and you think this movie's not all that. I want to hear why, because this movie just isn't for everyone. I could see some people being like, that was fun. Like I said, when it was released, not all audiences clicked with it. Like, it did really well critically. But I'm curious, this would be a good point as any is for a money minute. Like, you could tell me how much it made, because it's like, That's just by memory. I don't know for sure. Maybe it rocked.
It did. Oh, it did fantastic. It skyrocketed, dude. It was 16.5, 16 million.
That's pretty low considering the
is,
the cast.
I think it's time. I think it was just Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was washed up, dude. The last movie he started was in 2008. So
yeah, and then he did this, got nominated, won Best Picture, and then the next, I think it was the next year, he also was in Spotlight, which also got won Best Picture. Yeah. Like this is the start of his comeback, dude.
Right, which comeback to kind of fizzled out. I haven't really heard of him in anything recently, but
he was in that show. Apparently, he's amazing. He just won a bunch of Emmys for.
Was he doing
Dope
he's
Sick?
Doing a show?
Yeah, that HBO show about the opioid crisis.
Oh, okay. But
apparently, it's very good. Anyway,
it was it's 16.5, and then it was like an estimated 18 million, including distribution. So 18 mil, and it grossed 103.
Wow,
so
that's pretty good.
It did just fine. Yeah, it's like under 20 million and grossed 100. It's like that's
pretty good. I mean, Emma Stone, she was at the top of her game. Edward Norton, I feel had started to fizzle out too, and I've always liked Edward Norton. And then I was like, oh, cool, Ed Norton back in this.
Right. When I love, he's even meta too, because it's like he's notoriously difficult to work with.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And he was like the original Hulk at the start of that universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all these everyone in this movie is was attached to a superhero movie.
Dude, they have to, man. What is
yeah.
Emma Stone in? There's got to be. Everyone's touching on it.
It was Spider-Man.
Duh.
Yeah, she played Gwen Stacy, but yeah, it's like
sorry. Cool. Let me when you want to do Travis's messages, let me see if there's any Reddits though.
Oh yeah, go check a Reddit and then we'll do Travis.
There's some, and there was a couple Reddits, but they're short.
Yeah,
there are a lot of the movie's pretty good. A lot of that. Yeah. So Orfire Eagle says, I like the movie and how it played homage to his hit movie Batman. I see the movie as a way of letting go of that role and moving on in his own way.
That's totally. Actually he gets to
for him too to put that behind him,
Yeah. Right.
This is what makes it meta for the story. Yeah, story for the characters. It's like the character wants to do something great and move on, and then Michael Keaton doing this movie has gone into a new phase of his career, and it kind of really works for the actor too. Dolphin Spit said, I liked the movie more on my first watch a few years ago, but I still really like it. It's interesting for sure. This movie did have a certain magic for first time watches. I do think it really holds up, but it's something when I first watched it, I was just so swept up in the momentum, like I was saying. Oh yeah, and then someone said, Leo Shrewdwheat said, did this character bleed into Spider-Man? I never saw it.
yeah, I commented back where I'm in my head canon it did, because he does.
Well, doesn't he show up as the Vulture or something in one of the Spider-Mans?
Is he the Vulture in the newest one? I haven't watched any of the new ones.
Me neither, but I remember someone making that joke on the last, not the newest one, but the last one, where Michael Keaton is a bird villain, and I'm like, what?
I think that was appropriate. I think that's
hilarious. He can't let go. He can't let go.
No, dude, you need. Getting that fucking. I'll get that Spider-Man.
I know, and he's just Caw!
Yeah. Oh my god, when he does that, I cracked up, dude. I forgot. About
this movie.
That.
That's the thing too. This movie is hilarious.
Yeah.
There's so many times I was laughing my ass off, but it's I don't know. It does it both. It's not just an outright comedy.
How difficult it is to shoot comedy in this one take, but it's the comedy, the timing and the pacing and everything for comedy in this worked really well. There's a lot of slapsticky stuff. It kind of reminded me of that 30 Rock episode that's all live.
There's a couple of those.
And so it's right, and so it's essentially when they shoot it live, it's essentially one shot. They just have the sets built, and then the camera moves over, and then they'll switch to a different camera as people walk in. And so it's it's kind of got that same flow. And so they do comedy beats in that episode really well. And then this movie totally influenced a lot of different shows. But that Sunny episode is amazing. When
they say it wasn't because of that, But that's a lie.
That can't. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I guess.
I feel like
sure.
they said they shot it first. We're shooting it. The idea because of True Detective, because there's that one whole. It's like half the episode is all one shot, and it's awesome. But then they added the drum score after because of Birdman.
Oh, okay. So
And that makes sense because the drum score that happens in that episode. But that's like one of their best episodes, especially in recent years.
yeah.
But like a lot of movies, I don't know. I feel like this movie kind of like. I don't want to say it's underrated because it's it won Best Fucking Picture at the Academy Awards. So, but it's like I also feel like no one's really seen it that I talked to, and I feel like it's popular enough. It's not like an artsy fartsy movie. I don't know.
Oh.
It's not like one of those like I'll there's some movies where I'm like, hey yeah, unless you're like a huge film nerd and like have you ever seen Brazil? Like nobody's seen Brazil, and I get that.
I mean, our next movie we're gonna watch is Pi.
Nope.
That's like a. Oh, did Pi didn't win?
Pi didn't win, bitch.
Holy shit! This work today at work. I was looking and it was literally like four. It was like 4 votes ahead with 3 hours left.
Go check, dude.
Whoa! Okay, here, go get Travis's thing.
I got it up and right here. Right here. You want me to play it?
Sure, yeah, play it. I'm gonna go look and see what won.
Have you? Okay, tell me if you can't hear this. I'm gonna try and hold it away because last time you said you couldn't hear it.
I lost. Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Oops, I'm on the wrong window. I always forget it doesn't play from there. I gotta like hit that and then it takes me to a new whole thing. All right.
I know, and it takes you a thing.
Travis here. So I don't have a question today, just some comments, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Birdman is a great movie on so many levels.
I got the transcript. I can read it.
Dialogue between characters that I've seen in a long time. The scene where Sam played by Emma Stone cuts the guy down the side.
It worked like the first like 5 times we've done it, if not more.
Especially when she says, "You're doing this because you're scared to death, like the rest of us, that you don't matter. And you know what? You're right. You don't." These potent lines could play off of anyone's insecurities in life. Another thing that sticks out about Birdman is the true-to-life aspect of actors Michael Keaton and Edward Norton. Michael Keaton played Batman twice in '89 and '92, before the superhero movies took over. And one could imagine if he had stayed in that role or genre, he'd be more of a pop icon today. In Edward Norton's case, he's known for being a difficult person to work with, and is also known to clash with both actors and directors, just like his character Mike. In my eyes, that elevates this movie even more. It feels like perfect casting. Your thoughts, guys?
Thanks, Travis. You know that though. We should have Travis on one of these days. He knows what's up because he said exactly what we were saying about it's fucking perfect casting with Michael Keaton because of his roles in Batman. Perfect casting with Edward Norton because of his he is Mike Shiner. The character he plays, if like Edward Norton had only in an alternate reality where he only stays in theater, like he just only does, he's like a theater snob instead of doing movies. Edward Norton, if he was never in fucking Fight Club or Primal Fear, which Primal Fear is so good, we should anyway. You ever seen that?
I've never seen.
Dude, you never seen Primal Fear? That's a good one.
No, I should get into it, man. First Edward Norton was
Fight Club.
Fight Club.
That was the one I fell in love with him too. Back, 14-year-old Levi watching Fight Club. You know how hard I was for that.
Dude, okay. I mean, Fight Club is every our incels is like God.
It's true. It's true.
The fact that we don't have a Fight Club tattoo is we dodged that bullet.
Well, also how much I'm obsessed with David Fincher. So I think I actually haven't rewatched Fight Club in years. I think it's about ready for a rewatch.
Fight Club definitely went from peak apex to kind of getting called out. It's a little problematic, but it's still a fucking.
I know, film. And it's yeah. I'll have to watch it again because I feel like that is true, but also it's never saying that's a good thing. It's saying that it's so self-destructive, but it's I feel like a lot of people took that as no, this is what the true alpha male is, even though it's really trying to say something about toxic masculinity or something.
Let's table that conversation because
Even though, yeah, maybe we'll find a way to watch Fight Club down the road. I'm sure. I mean, that could fit into a fucking cerebral category if I really wanted it to. But no, he's saying the line too with Emma Stone, which is so good when she's fucking cussing out her dad. And she's like, "You're scared to death like the rest of us. That you don't matter, and guess what? You don't." You know, and the acting in that scene, this time especially, fucking blew my tits off because she's just so pissed, and then slowly it melts away to like shame. Like it's like, because it's like she heard it, like he's there and he's defeated and he's vulnerable, and so she's like feels bad for being an asshole, but also like he kind of deserves it. So she just walks off, and then he smokes her joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good movie, dude.
I gave it 4.5 cacaws.
I'm definitely gonna watch it again, and I'm gonna trick my wife into watching it, whether she likes it or not. It's gonna happen. You just gotta help me. I just gotta lay off it's the pressure of it. She doesn't like to be coerced into enjoying art that I like.
You go, hey, do you want to watch this movie? And then she's like, no. And then you're like, all right.
I just gotta have it on,
That should be it.
and then just like she'll just get sucked into it.
That is true. I mean, that really though, it's like, yeah, she can. Yeah, I feel like she'd put her phone down if she was in the middle of this movie.
Or I should just call it. I'm just gonna call it the unexpected virtue of ignorance. Just call it just that.
Yeah.
Do you want to watch this
telling
movie?
you, dude. Just cut out she doesn't need the opening title. Doesn't need to say that. Even though that is such a
It's such a.
and thank you, Travis, for calling in. My bad.
Of course.
But that opening, that's like something that Travis and I were talking about earlier today, is like the difference between film and theater. And I personally don't have my love for this movie is only strictly rooted in the film aspect of it, the cinematography, that everything that has to do what film can do. It's flawless. Like next to like where video games actually bring another, like they bring a tactile environment to the
interactive
storytelling.
element. Yeah,
They bring one fold more, and so you could argue that like video games are like the next film explosion, film experience. It's going to be the next entertainment experience.
Yeah,
you know, and
at a point it already is.
If we're still alive.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But anyhow, it's like, so because even if you think about it, film has a really short lifespan.
Yeah.
Film hasn't even really been around that long. And so anyways, and how it's getting like, you know, weeded down, film's like kind of dying a little bit. But anyways, that's a whole different podcast. That's a ramble episode.
That's a ramble episode because
I was talking with Travis, and I was like, I love the film side of it. I don't respect I respect it, but I just don't care about the theater aspect. And he was curious if we've seen any plays. Have you seen an actual, I mean, quote unquote Broadway?
The most
I've watched Cats.
Have you?
Not the new one.
Oh, the most.
The original.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a handful of plays. Like I've seen quite a few like really pretty good college productions. I saw a really good college production of Something Wicked This Way Comes that I really enjoyed.
What was that?
I like the theater.
The digital one that used to play at movie theaters, and it'd be like live events.
They keep doing that. It's like
introduces.
It's like fandom or something, or it plays at the beginning all the time. Like they still do that.
Yeah, they still do. Well, I saw Les Mis, the actual play, on one of those ones.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, wow, this is really cool because you got the close-ups, and that's what I crave. That's what I love about film is the intimacy. Like that that scene where Emma Stone is chewing out her dad, and she like cries, and it's like she had to do that like in the moment. She had to like bring herself to that. And it's so cool. You can't really get that with theater. I just don't know theater well enough.
Yeah, theater's got a different energy because, like, the last play I saw, Mary and we went and seen. So I don't know if you've probably never been there because it's fairly new, but the new Hell Center Theater in Salt Lake.
No, I've been to Hell Center, but
like the new one that's like in Sandy or whatever. But
no,
it's huge, and they specifically get Broadway plays there now. And so we saw an Addams Family Broadway style production, and it was a lot of fun, man. But it's like it's the same way of like it's almost like seeing a band live. Like there's certain element, it's got a certain energy to it, but in some instances it's not as like I don't know, because I feel like this movie Birdman, it takes the elements from acting, like the energy and like the rawness and the like you have to keep rolling with the punches of it into its narrative, but specifically the acting. I feel like acting is almost more cherished in theater because it's like there are less elements, whereas film you can rely on other elements. You can rely on CG, you can rely on effects, you can rely on cinematography, whatever. But in theater, if you don't have a good actor, you don't have fucking shit. And so I think this movie really, in this movie they really have to go. I think this is what makes it so much better for why I love cinema, like you said, so much more, is because in this movie you get the big moments, the big acting that you would get in a theater, but you also get the super small, like that little monologue he does where he's like talking about, he's like, there's like a little man following me around with a hammer, just hammering my balls. And he's like, he's just like talking to himself and he's like, what was the question? Like shit like that could never ever happen in theater. You know, it's a different style, and it's like, I think that's why I love film just so much. There's so many reasons why I love film, but
right. But and not to disparage theater at all.
But that's why film's better. Fuck you, theater.
Right, really though. But it's like the one thing that theater has is that element of surprise, because every single time it is human. It's more
right. It's like it's raw. It's live. There's no.
That's why I love this movie. Is at the beginning you hear them all tuning up. And it's just so cool. It's so cool to hear the drum tune.
Yeah, it is.
And just like that, the wood, the like creaking on the wood. It's like it's that you feel it. You're there. You're an audience member now, and it's just black screen. It's so good. God, this movie's great. Love this movie.
Did you jizz in your pants when you saw the drummer actually playing live in the theater? Just like he's just in the background, just like playing.
Well, the first time you meet him, he's on the street. You throw him change and keep going, and you're like, hey, that's the drummer guy. And then you see him in the thing, and you're
like the climax. Oh, cool. It's so good. Anyway,
and his drumming is just so good, man. I'm gonna be a professional drummer, dude. I'm Whiplash now.
You are yeah. I knew you could be Whiplash. It's not my tempo. I know. I literally watched that not long ago either. All right.
Dude,
so
plug our stuff. I'll do the phone number today.
Do the phone number.
So how Travis calls in to give us a little message every week is he dials a phone number, and it's connected to our Google Voice.
Indeed.
So it just goes straight to voicemail. We won't ever answer it. Don't worry about that. And the phone number you call is 801-613-1501. Feel free. Give us a call, please.
Good job.
We love you.
So next week, on our poll, did you vote for pie?
Dude. No, I voted for something. Let me look real quick. You can read what won. My mind is blown, dude. I literally looked at it just this morning. Or hours ago. I did Holy Motors too.
You did Holy Motors?
I voted Holy Motors.
I did. I thought you were going to do pie because that was your pick. I did a Filled in England, which I wanted to watch, but maybe another time.
Yeah,
so the movie that did end up winning was Holy Motors, which I've never seen. I'm excited to see. I know it's pretty. I've heard it's got a reputation for being kind of weird. It's been on my. We
talked about it.
We brought it up at some point about like something about some aesthetic, because it's like I remember wanting to see it because I remember when it came out, it was like had quite a bit of a little bit of a buzz.
It was another weird movie that we watched, and we were talking about it to compare it. I want to say it was Brazil, but I don't think it was Brazil.
I felt like it was longer than that. There's that new movie like Annette or whatever that's got Adam Driver in it. That's kind of a musical in a way that's by the same director as Holy Motors.
Maybe it could have been the last Night in Soho.
Maybe.
Probably that might have been. Well, it had to have been because it's like
go back. If you remember us ever talking about Holy Motors, just come tell us what we were saying. But that's what we're watching next week, so go fucking watch that movie and watch Birdman as well. In the meantime, go to the Reddit. Go every week we put out a poll for what movie we're going to watch the next week, so that it just keeps on rolling. It feels fast, but I really like it. It's kind of keeping me fresh, keeping me on my toes. I hope you guys, anyone who's listening to this, I hope you guys are enjoying. Like, go vote, pick the movies, but come comment on the movies too. And again, I will continue to make a post of where you can pick your own movies, but you can pick them. Like, if there's a movie that fits the theme that you want to see, make it into a poll. Just fucking throw it out in the comments or something. Or, like I said, I'll make a post. You can put it there. But it's not like it's super strict. Like, fucking throw it out to us, and we'll do it. Or if we don't, we don't. You know, I don't know.
It'll get there. It'll be posted up. We will see it. We see them all.
The only thing the only thing we won't do is if we've already done a podcast about that movie, we probably won't pick it. That's like it.
You know, and we'll try to come and let you know that we've done it, you know, and just ask for another pick because
No, it's cool. If anything, that just tells me you've not been around very long, which I'm fine with. Welcome. Talk with us. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on movies. Like, I love talking to movies with just Jordan, but come to the fucking website, come to the Instanarf.
Yeah, when you go on the website, you can you can comment on the movies there. You can see our written synopsis there that we
I want to try and post more like videos on there, linking to the movies.
We'll have a link to our YouTube, and then a link to the shop is on our website. There's going to be some more merch coming up tomorrow. I've got all of it in, so I just need to take have my staging. I'm going to take my photos tomorrow, and I'll post up some more merch tomorrow, and then go to our Patreon. Yeah. It's going to be updated tomorrow too, and it'll have all of your access to Plex, so you can see all these movies and you can get
extra podcasts. I'm going to put up all the rambles that are not up there yet, but you can go there now and get caught up on the rambles, the other podcasts we do with our friend David. Go check that out. Thank you to the few of you that are our patrons of us. We really appreciate it because you make it so I can buy these movies and we can watch them legally and all enjoy them together, and then you guys get sweet fucking extra shit to listen to about movies and stickers and stuff. So that's fun. That's good. Okay, I think that wraps it up. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye now.
Yeah. See you, bud.
To get ourselves a treat.